None of this nonsense now. I want to know what you did with the letter. What did you do with the letter? What did you do with the letter?
I burnt it. That's what I did with it. Is General Connolly and the Citizen Army going to be your only care? Is your home only going to be a place to rest in? Am I only going to be something to provide merrymaking at night for you? Your vanity will be the ruin of you and me yet, Jack. That's what's moving you. Because they made a captain out of you. You'll make a glorious cause of what you're doing, while your own little red-lipped Nora could go on sitting here, making a companion out of the loneliness of the night.
You burnt that, did you? Well, me good lady.
Let go, you're hurting me.
You deserve to be hurt. Any letter that comes to me in the future, take care that I get it. Do you hear? Take care that I get it. You needn't wait up for me. If I'm in at all, it won't be before 6 in the morning.
I don't care if you never come back.
Come along, mate.
Mother's gone to the meeting and I was feeling terribly lonely, so I thought I'd come down and sit with you, thinking you mightn't be going yourself. I'd be terribly afraid I'll die sometime when I'm by myself. I often envy you, Mrs. Clisher, seeing the health you have and the lovely place you have here, and wondering if I'll ever be strong enough to be keeping a home together for a man.
It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know.
Oh, that must be some more of the Dublin Fusiliers heading off to the front.
There's the men, marching out into the dread dimness of danger, while the lice is crawling and feeding on the fatness of the land. But yours will not escape the arrow that flieth by night, or the sickness that wasteth by day. And ladyship and all, as some of them may be, they'll be scattered abroad like the dust in the darkness.
Is there anybody going, Mrs. Clisher, with a tish or a sense?
Curse the God and the Hayford hardly Tom. There isn't much notice taken of a pretty petticoat of a night like this. They're all in a holy mood. The solid-looking dials in the whole of them, and they march into the meeting. You'd think they were the glorious company of saints, a noble army of martyrs. Paradise. They're all thinking of higher things than a girl's garters. It's a tremendous meeting. 4 platforms they have. There's one of them just outside opposite the window.
Oh, aye. Sure, when the speaker comes to near in here, we'll see him playing and hear nearly everything he's spoken over.
25 shillings a week for your keep and laundry, and then taxing you a quid if you bring home a friend for the night. If I could only put a couple of quid by for a swanker outfit, everything in the garden would look lovely.
Which do we hear what you say?
It's a glorious thing to see arms in the hands of Irishmen. We must accustom ourselves to the thought of arms. We must accustom ourselves to the sight of arms. We must accustom ourselves to the use of arms. Bloodshed is a cleansing and sanctifying thing, and a nation that regards it as the final horror has lost its manhood. There are many things more horrible than bloodshed, and slavery is one of them.
It's the sacred truth, mind you, what that man's after saying.
If I was only a little younger, I'd be plunging mad into the middle.
Oh, here's the 2 gems running over again for their isle.
2 hands, Tom. A meeting like this always makes me feel as if God 3 o'clock here from joy.
Sure, you couldn't feel any way else at a time like this, when the spirit of a man is pulsing to be out fighting for the truth, with his feet trembling on the way, maybe to the gallows, and his ears tingling with the faint faraway sound of bursting rifle shots. That'll maybe whip the lass and shock her life out of him. That's left lingering in his body.
I felt a burning lump in my throat when I heard that Bentley and the soldier song. Remember last year, with the people staring at both sides of us, carrying the Pride Resolution Dublin to the grave of Woolstone.
Get the Dublin men going, and they'll go on full force from anything that's trying to bar them away from what they're wanting. Where the slim-thinking country boy ain't limp away from that first faintest touch of compromisation.
Two more. The memory of all things that was done, and all things that was suffered by the people who was booming in my brain. Every nerve in my body was quivering to do something desperate.
Jammed as I was in the crowd, I listened to the speeches pattering on the people's head, like rain falling on the corn. Every derogatory thought went out of my mind, and I said to myself, you can die now, Fluter, for you've seen the shadow of dreams leap into life in the body of living men. That's how if we're out a titter of courage for centuries. We're vice versa now. Looky here, man, that blood was boiling in my veins.
I was burning to draw my sword and wave it over me.
Wish, stop your blathering for a minute, man, and let us hear what he's trying to say.
Comrade soldiers of the Irish Volunteers and of the Citizen Army, we rejoice in this terrible war. The old heart to the earth need to be warmed with the red wine of the battlefields. Such a august homage was never offered to God as this. The homage of millions of lives given gladly for love of country. We must be ready to pour out this same red wine in the same glorious sacrifice. For without shedding of blood, there is no redemption.
Come on, man, this is too good to be missed.
Give us a glass of malt for God's sake, till I stimulate myself from the shock of seeing the sight that's after going out.
Another one for me, Tommy. The young gentleman's orders in the corner of his eye.
Hold on there, Rosie.
What are you holding on at you for? Didn't you hear the young gentleman say he couldn't refuse anything to nice little birds? Isn't that right, Jigs? Didn't I know Tommy to be all right? It takes Rosie to size the young man up and tell the thoughts that are trembling in his mind. Isn't that right, Jigs? Great meeting that's getting held outside. Well, it's up to us all anyhow to fight for our freedom.
Two more, please. Freedom? What's the use of freedom if it's not economic freedom?
I used them very words myself just before you come in. A lot of tricksters as I thought would know what freedom was if they got it from their mother. Didn't I, Tommy?
I just remember.
No, you don't disremember. Remember, you said yourself 'twas all only a flash in the pan. Well, flash in the pan or no flash in the pan, says I. They won't get Rosie Redmond, says I, to fight for freedom that wouldn't be worth winning in a raffle.
There's only one freedom for the working man. Control of the means of production, rate of exchange, and means of distribution. Look here, comrade. I leave here tomorrow night for you a copy of Janursky's thesis on the origin, development, and consolidation of the evolutionary idea of the proletariat.
If you ask, Rosie, it's heartbreaking to see a fella thinking of anything or admiring anything but the silk transparent stockings string off the shape of a little lass's legs. Out in the park in the shade of a warm summer evening with your little darling bridie to be kissing and cuddling.
Now, what are you doing? None of that, no, none of that. I got something else to be doing besides shenanigan after duties.
Oh, little ducky, oh, shy little ducky, never held a little Matt's hand. I wouldn't know how to tittle a little Judy. Tittle her under the chin, tittle her under the chin.
Ah, go on now. I don't want to have any meddling with a lassie like you.
Jesus, in a monastery, some of us ought to be spending our holidays, kneeling on our adorners, telling our beads, and knocking hell out of our bosoms.
Cuckoo!
It's terrible that young Covey can't pass it out prodding and poking at me. Do you hear him mumbling cuckoo when we were passing?
I wouldn't be everlasting cocking me ear to every little whisper that was floating around about me. It's my rule never to lose my temper till it would be detrimental to keep it. And there's nothing derogatory wrong in the use of the word cuckoo, is there?
That is not the word to the way he says it. He never says it straight out, but murmurs it with curious, quivering ripples, like variations in a flute.
So what odds if he gave with variations on a trombone? What's yours going to be, ma'am?
A half a mouse trooper.
3 halves, Tommy.
The Forester's is a gorgeous dress. I don't think I've seen nicer mind in a pattern.
The loveliest part of the dress, I think, is the ostrich's plume. When yous are going along, and I see them waving and nodding and wagging, I seem to be looking at each of us, hanging at the end of the rope, your eyes bulging and your legs twisting and jerking, gasping and gasping for breath while yous are trying to die for Ireland.
If any of them is hanging at the end of a rope, don't be for Ireland.
You going to start the Cornish game of prodding and twatting, man? There's not many men talking. The kid said for 25 years he never missed a pilgrimage to Bodenstone.
Do you know, you were always blowing about going to Bodenstone. Do you think no one but yourself goes to Bodenstone?
I'm not blown about it, but there's not a year that I go there but I pluck a leaf off a Tone's grave. And this very damn prayer book is nearly full of them.
Dave Luther has a vice versa opinion of them that put ivy leaves in their prayer books, scabbing it on the clergy, and trying to outdo the halos and the saints, be looking as if he was wearing around his head a glittering aurora borealis. Sure, I don't care a damn if you slept in Bodenstown. You can take your breakfast, dinner and tea on the grave in Bodenstown if you're like for Luther.
Ah, don't start a fight, boys, for God's sake. I was only saying what a nice costume it is. Nicer than the kilts. For God forgive me, I always think the kilts is hardly decent.
So when you look at him, you'd wonder, was the man was making fun of their costume, or the costume was making fun of the man?
No, then, try to speak easy with us. We don't know choking here.
Two glasses of malt.
There he is now. I knew it would be long before he followed me in.
I can't for the life of me understand how they can call themselves Catholics when they won't even lift a finger to help poor little Catholic Belgium.
What about poor little Catholic Ireland?
You mind your own business, ma'am, and stupefy your foolishness be getting drunk.
Take no notice for her. Pay no attention to her. She's just tormenting herself towards having a row with somebody.
There's a storm of anger tossing in my heart, thinking of all the poor Tommies, and with them my own son, drenched in water and soaked in blood, groping their way to a shattering death in a shower of shells. Young men with the sunny lust of life beaming in them, laying down their white bodies, shredded into torn and bloody pieces on an altar that God himself has built for the sacrifice of heroes.
Isn't it a nice thing to have to be listening to a lesson and hanging our heads in a dead silence, knowing that some persons think more of a ball of malt than they do the blessed saints?
Whisht, whisht. She's always dangerous in derogatory when she's well-oiled. The safest way to hinder her from having any enjoyment out for spite is to dip our thoughts into the fact of her being a female person that has moved out of the sight of ordinary sensible people.
To look at some of the women that's knocking about now is a thing to make a body sigh. A woman drinking on her own with a bevy of men is hardly an example to her sex. A woman drinking with a woman is one thing, and a woman drinking with herself is still a woman. But a middle-aged, married woman making herself the centre of a circle of men is as a woman who is loud and stubborn, whose feet are bideth not in her own house.
When I think of all the problems in front of the workers, it makes me sick to be looking at old codgers going about dressed up like green accoutered figures gone astray out of a toy shop.
Precious conjugation to be listening to that bastard young Kobe, prodding and poking me from off the other end of this shop.
Sissy Gogan's a woman living for nigh on 25 years in her own room, and beyond bidding the time of day to her neighbours, never yet as much as nodded her head in the direction of other people's business. While she knows some as they're never content, unless they're standing sentry over other,